Hello and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder. We have a lot of great things going on at Grow Your Occupancy. We have a masterclass for regional directors happening in Seattle in March. We have our new online course. So if you're interested in learning more, you can always jump on our website at growyouroccupancy.com. Today, very excited to welcome two guests who are both digital experts or marketing experts in the digital space. They're going to tell you all of their secrets. And I know this is a topic that is really first and foremost on many of our minds. So let me introduce you to Scott Bell, who is the CEO of High Level Marketing, and Ana Cristina Reaves. She is a key account lead also at High Level Marketing. So welcome, Scott and Ana.
Right. Thanks so much. We really appreciate you having us today.
Yeah. Hi, Julie.
Of course. Ana has, I know, Scott, that you've been in this business for your entire professional career, and Ana, you have many years experience and almost more than 6 in the senior living space. So you've got some great things to share with us. And yes, we are heading into the holiday season and wrapping up 2022. So I'm just going to jump right in here and ask you, what are some of your takeaways from 2022? Things that you've seen your clients experience or things you've learned that you can share with us?
Yes. So I think one of the biggest takeaways for 2022 is things are actually starting to normalize a bit more. It was really hard looking at trends and things in 2020. So we finally have a little bit more consistency with our seasonalities, comparing 2022 to 2021, and then looking back at kind of 2019. Specifically in this space. But I would say one of the biggest takeaways from this year is just the growth that we've seen in the digital space. There's a lot more competition online. Before we really had to focus on the aggregators, they were really dominant online. But now when you do a search, you see a lot more communities, a lot more, it's just a lot more competitive. And like everything else, everything is more expensive, not just in general life, but online as well. Would you agree, Scott?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think our business in the digital marketing space, like so many other businesses out there, staffing was certainly a challenge in 2022, and shortages, competition in the job market, prices going up. To Ana's point, we're starting to see a little bit of leveling off and some normalization. But she was referring to like online competition, which is, how our brains think when we think about marketing. And you can see in Google Trends relative to people going to search and looking for senior living communities, 2019 through 2020, even 2021, it was very volatile. You can kind of see those trends in relation to the COVID spikes. It's starting to level out a little bit more, but we're continuing to see a lot of online demand for senior living.
I'm going to guess here, and you can tell me, kind of course correct my thought. When and during the pandemic, I was a CSO, so I was on the provider side, if you will, very actively involved in all of the components and trying to stay afloat right during COVID. But what we experienced was a reduction in space, right? In general market share, right? So in order to stay competitive, to your point, we had to increase the spend or be satisfied with a smaller market share, because more people were companies were taking those traditional dollars, maybe for events and print, and pushing them over to or redirecting them to digital, which is in alignment with a lot of what's happening in conversations and between thought leaders at conferences. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's more competitive, right? Because people are seeing the value there, that digital, but kind of stabilizing, but of normalization.
Yeah, normalization of potential resident interactions online. It was difficult the last few years. Again, you can kind of go back and see when COVID spikes happen, you'd see these big fluctuations in consumer behavior around finding a senior living community. And in the marketing space, that makes it hard to predict what we can or can't do for a client or a community that we serve with. Getting past some of that now, we do have some more predictability and search habits that happen online for senior living communities. Rates have stabilized a little bit, but there are more communities that are investing in digital. We think that's going to continue in the years to come. So we do continue to expect kind of advertising cost increases related to digital marketing services.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about digital marketing services. I know for myself, so I'll only speak for myself, and working in the whirlwind, and there's just so much that takes our attention, that there's a lot that falls under, right, that umbrella of digital services. And there's a lot out there. And I was just curious, what advice would you give a company either just start leaning into that digital space, or very, well established in the space, but looking at prioritizing budgets, time, bandwidth? What advice as far as priority in the digital space?
We believe in foundation first, and the foundation is going to be your website. There are a lot of different channels, digital channels, whether it's social, whether it's Google search. There's different ways to drive traffic to your site, but the most important thing that you need to focus on, or first and foremost, would be your website. That's your foundation. That's where all of it's going to, at the end of the day, lead to. And you really need to think about having a solid site that focuses on the user experience, focuses on messaging, and kind of making sure that you're answering the questions and providing the information that your visitors actually need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredibly important. And I agree, foundation first. So being in the marketing space and offering digital marketing services, we intake a lot of potential customers that want to quickly increase lead volume. And the best way to do that, in order, like, just to completely get a bunch of leads coming in, is oftentimes through paid ad campaigns. But we typically don't recommend that on the front end. Let's take a step back. Let's make sure that you have a solid foundation, because we could drive all the paid leads possible, but if they visit your website or along their kind of path or their journey, they visit your website and it's a poor experience, then you're going to miss out and you're not going to be able to maximize on those opportunities. So to Anna's point, it is foundation first, and kind of building on that website content, then your SEO and organic strategy so that you could start ranking. Then it's how am I going to nurture leads? What kind of content do I need? Do I need email drip campaigns to maximize those leads? And then it's and this is just our philosophy, then it's paid. If you're going to put dollars into paid, make sure you're going to be able to maximize those with the foundation that you built.
Mm-hmm. It makes really good sense. As you're talking, I'm thinking of this. I'm on the sales side, or you're putting the leads in the funnel, and we work with our clients and teams to help those prospects move through the funnel more successfully and at a greater rate. And we're all in this position where we want something right now, or we need to move in right now, or we need more leads right now. And I completely get that. But if we're putting leads into the funnel with a broken or no fundamentals or infrastructure from a sales perspective, what is experience going to be? And even taking that funnel and putting putting a layer on top of that funnel, to your point, if you're driving more leads to your website and that experience isn't where it needs to be, so to me, I'm hearing you say fundamentals, foundation, start with that great website, and then go from there with content and messaging, and then SEO. I've got a couple drill down questions here because I'm listening and taking notes. So let's jump to the website just real quick. Based on websites that you've seen, I know you've seen a lot, and specifically for websites to serve seniors, senior living communities or providers, even home health. I know you've got clients in several verticals in that space. Tell me what you like, and maybe some areas of opportunity. What advice would you give those who are looking at their website?
So the first thing that I would look at is messaging. You want to make sure that you are thinking about what the end user is looking for and not what you want to say. You want to answer their questions. You need to think about who your buyer is, and making sure that you're tailoring that messaging to the different buyers. We know that there's the resident themselves, like that active adult 55 plus, that they are looking to move. Then what's important to them, and that messaging needs to focus on them. And then of course you also have that kind of adult child or the influencer, the family member that is looking for a loved one. So the messaging might be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, the messaging is most important, answering their questions, and thinking about their experience. I've seen, specifically in the senior living space, I've seen a variety of sites where some just have a lot of information about, I'm a community and this is what I offer. And it just talks about all their amenities and we're great and come and schedule a tour. I've seen some sites where all they're like, just come and visit, come and visit, come and visit. And it could almost, if you think about the state of mind that the person that is visiting your site, the state of their emotion and things like that, they're probably doing a lot of research, depending on where they are in that funnel. So you probably want to think about how they're processing things. They want to know who you are, what you offer, what makes you different from someone else. And then of course, depending on that buyer, are they thinking about pricing? Is it about amenities? Is it, is it about level of care? But you want to kind of organize the information to enhance their user experience. And then as you add in call to actions, whether it's downloading a brochure or scheduling a visit or connecting with a sales counselor, you want to be strategic and sensitive with how you put those up. Because I've seen some sites where it's just really aggressive. Just schedule a tour, come visit us. And some people might be turned off by that. So you want to kind of have a nice balance and think of the flow.
Great advice. Great advice. We only have a fresh set of eyes once. And someone mentioned that to me. I'm sure I don't know why, but it was just like, yeah, you're right. And so we're, as we as consultants can go into a community, that fresh set of eyes, you can look at a website the first time when you're in it and you've helped and you've seen it develop and you're looking at your own site. It's like looking at your own child. Some of us are more objective than others, but there is a filter there, right? We don't have a completely objective eye. So it's important to have that, try to take the defenses down, right? And be open to feedback that's presented very professionally and respectfully of where there may be opportunities, right? So that you can continue enhancing the customer journey. I learned at Cala this year that the research that there is about that span of time that a typical senior living customer is researching even prior to doing anything is 5 weeks. That's a lot of time coming back to the site. So if you don't have those content pieces and then information and reasons to engage, So what's happening 5 weeks before they even touch anything, or maybe they download a brochure and that's it. That's that's a lot of time. So that silent search, it's really important to think about. Okay, so now I need to go back. Scott, you were saying the build that foundation, and you mentioned lots of kind of technical terms like search words and SEO and paid and content and all of that. And
Yeah.
can you just break it down for us, especially, I think we all understand pay-per-click, a paid search, right? But what is SEO?
Yeah, you're right. So pay-per-click, PPC. I mean, all of us in the industry, it's paid search or SEM, search engine marketing, PPC, pay-per-click. They're all interchangeable, and it's all showing up on the search engine results page, whether that's Google or Bing or Yahoo. And it's basically what it is. What it is. You pay, you bid on that space, you bid on keywords, and you pay for that click. The SEO, search engine optimization, is really what we do as digital marketers on your website. It also has to do with what we do with your business listings and Google business listing. And it could also be some other off-website stuff. But all of that in aggregate, the value is to help you improve your rankings and your visibility in the organic section of Google. And the organic section of Google is really below the paid ads at the top. So organic, when we talk about organic and SEO, we're referring to the map section at the top that's right underneath the ads. That's organic. And that is impacted and influenced with the strength of your website and the services or the products that you offer. It's also influenced by your reviews. Do you have a lot of reviews? Do you have frequent reviews, recent reviews, and are they 4 or 5 stars? That helps you move up the rankings in the map section. And then the section below it is the true organic section. And when we do SEO, we want our clients to be able to move up those rankings. And you do that through content on the website, building and architecting the website for success. And there's a lot of technical stuff that's done on the back end of the site to help influence that. But every step up in rankings means a higher click-through rate on that search engine results page. So I think that's what SEO is, and that's what we're trying to do. And SEO, as we've seen it, should be with a good strategy driving the best leads for the community that close at a high rate.
So it's not just about, oh, I've got the biggest budget and I'm going to pay the most, so I'm always going to rank the highest.
On the SEO and the organic side, it's not. And that's why SEO can be hugely valuable and drive a significant ROI. If you're contracting with a good SEO or digital marketing agency that has a good strategy that moves you up the top, that investment usually stays relatively flat, but you'll continue to see rises in web traffic and leads. Paid, on the other hand, is a way to supplement and augment that. But if you want to get more leads from the paid section, you typically have to increase your budget. And those are the two distinctive properties of those aspects of page 1 of Google.
And from my understanding, which is I've learned so much from Anna and other providers, is that SEO is so much more than blog content, which is very important, blog content, but SEO is, there's a broken links and all this stuff that behind the scenes that, I mean, I've seen reports that are 19 pages long, and I don't know what any of it means, but you guys do, and you fix it all, right? And make the site optimize the effectiveness. Is that a fair way to say? Or the effectiveness of the site, or the output?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very robust set of things that we do that can be technical and non-technical. But the best way to think about Google, because everybody, and we do the same thing. We're critical of how they change their algorithm and And why did they change this? It's impacting rankings, and they change their algorithm daily. So you're always trying to figure out exactly what Google wants to see on your website that influences moving up the rankings. But the best way to think about this is just like from a community standpoint, you want to display the content that they care about the most. That's what we have to do with Google. And Google is in the business of, when someone is searching for something, giving them the most relevant information. So if you have a website that doesn't have great content, if you have a website that's really slow, if you're a company that has no reviews or really bad reviews, you have to ask yourself, is this the content that Google is going to serve up at the top of the page? Probably not. So when we're doing our optimizations, we're thinking about it as Google as like a person. What do they want to see, knowing that their motivation is to serve up the best, most relevant content to a reputable company that they can for the person doing that searching.
Makes great sense. Makes really great sense. And there's a lot of competition in every business, right? In every business type, and certainly a lot of competition when you're an operator, your community, local communities. We're competing for those same prospects to move to our community or use their services. In the digital space, a lot of competition. I'm sure you experience in businesses outside of senior living, but I would, from my perspective, I would say that, and I want to ask you, let me ask you first, what, in your opinion, makes you, what's your differentiator, and what advice might you give someone who's looking to partner up with a digital marketing provider?
Anna, you want to take that, or do you want me to take it?
I'll let you take it.
Okay. Well, there are a few differentiators. One, I think, is our approach. There are a lot of marketing companies and digital agencies that get opportunities, and those opportunities say, we need the most leads possible as quick as possible. And they're going to happily sell them something that may not generate results because they just want the new customer. Our approach is a little different. You heard Anna talk about it's foundation first. We're willing to say no to a prospect or a potential client if they say they need leads fast, but they're not willing for us to do the deep dive to make sure that they have a strong foundation set up. It's not about a money grab. It's not about quick leads. It's about building an engine that can help communities stay filled more times than not and to hit those long-term goals. So I think that's one, that's just a philosophy that we've built in. Two is transparency. I mean, you hear it in the digital marketing space that it's just this big black box. I'm paying them $3,000 a month and I don't know what the heck they're doing. And that is not how we operate. We've actually built technology and software that supports that opening up the black box and transparency angle. For us, all of our clients get access to our technology where they can see in real time all the work that our team members are doing on their behalf. That's in the past, but it's also what is the HLM team and which team members are doing specific actions over the next 30 to 60 days on my behalf. And why is that important? Well, first off, you don't want to pay someone and not know what they're doing for you. So that's kind of, in our mind, table stakes, but it's also about alignment. If we're meeting with our clients and we're doing something that they're not aligned with or vice versa, we want to have that conversation. So transparency is our guarantee as a company. And I think the other is expertise, not only on product and service delivery for digital, but industry expertise. If you're having to teach your agency about your business, then that's going to create a lot of friction, and it's going to take you a whole lot more time to ramp up a successful campaign. So that's certainly a big one for us.
Mm-hmm. Anna, anything to add there?
I think something else that's really important is just the communication. And you said this word before, and I love it. It's a partnership. It's a digital partnership, because while our team, we could have great, experts, executing and taking these campaigns live, but there needs to be a communication between the community or the client as well as the marketer to understand, we have certain KPIs that we look at, certain metrics that would suggest, oh, this, campaign is working, very well. We may see that there's a really high website traffic volume or really high click-through rate, or we may even see a high, lead intake or inquiries, I'm sorry. But you need to have that communication to understand, are these quality? And, you have, oh, well, we're getting tons of leads, but none of these leads are working. These are bad leads. Well, the only way we'll know if they're bad is if you tell us why. Are they out of market? Are they looking for services that you're not providing? Are they, there's just a whole lot of different things. So there needs to be that communication to understand. We can say, this is what we see. We need to see what you're receiving on your end. And a lot of times that comes from the sales side, from the sales team members to communicate. So we can then go back and look at the campaigns and optimize them to make sure that they're working as best possible.
So, Anna, that's a good point. That kind of brings up one other area of differentiation that we talk to prospects and clients about, and it is our technology. So we have a local market report technology that we can run really any senior living community through, and it scans the website. It scans their top 20 competitor websites in their market, and it stack ranks them based on a number of factors: how their website's built, their organic rankings, their online review profile. And that's built into our technology. It allows us to actually see a little bit under the hood of where we can make an impact, or in other words, what's the low-hanging fruit for improving their rankings and their online foundation. And the other thing that's built into our technology is like dashboards and reporting. Anna pointed out the disconnect that happens with the communication of leads and quality. Our technology has a real-time lead tracker. So our clients and our account management and customer success team can log in, see all community leads that are coming in for visits, and we can rank them good, bad, spam. And then you can start to see where your leads are coming from, which ads are producing the best quality leads. And it's just that kind of information, two-way dialogue and partnership that's so important.
Okay, so a couple things. How, if I'm interested in getting whatever what you just said done, what is it called again?
Yeah, so it's called the local market report.
A local market report.
There are a couple of ways that you could get that report. The first is a self-service. You could actually go to our website. We have it on the website. So highlevelmarketing.com. And then when you click services on the navigation, it's the first option, local market report. And you can actually put in your URL. All you need is your URL, your zip code, as well as your city.
Okay.
Put that in, that it does a scan of your website and all of your competitors and shows you areas that you can improve. If you want us to do it, you could call us or just submit something through the website, and we'll run a scan and send that scan link to you as well.
Okay, so this is a complimentary service?
It is. It's a diagnosis tool that kind of shows you where you are and the gaps that may exist, but our team uses it too to help develop a strategy.
Okay, great. And that's highlevelmarketing.com spelled out?
That's correct.
Awesome. Okay, I took those notes. And then I did want to kind of circle around. I know we're running out of time, but Anna, you and I met several years ago, and I was working with a community that was in your local market, and that's how we ended up meeting. But One of the things in our first kind of discussion, or sort of your discovery with me, was you asked what what our move-in goals were, and what the occupancy goals were, and what I use the term magic number for how many are open to fill to 100%. And you just jumped right on that. And when we had our review calls, you started with that, right? Instead of, oh, okay, and we've generated 100 leads for you, and this is what we've done. It was, okay, your magic number was X, and this was a lease up at the time. Remember that? So we started with 0 move-ins, right? Because we started lease up. And so it was, okay, and how many did you get? And you really were focused on that, on what I'm focused on. And to me, that's alignment, right? And that's from a sales perspective. I know I've complimented you on this before, but from a sales perspective, you find out what the client is, what's important to the client, and you speak to that. I mean, that's great sales. So I have to give you kudos there, and certainly customer service. So my experience has been rock solid, and it really is relational and communication. And I also, for anyone who works with anybody digital, if you feel like your dollars are going into a black hole, it's my layman's advice. That would be where to start. Just, to kind of like, wait a second, ask for a dashboard, ask for, more transparency around, hey, I'm paying $1,000 a month for Google Ads or pay-per-click, and what is that really getting me? So don't be afraid to ask, and see if you get a dashboard. So definitely transparency. And like I said, we're running out of time. I could pick your brain all day, but one final question, as we're heading into the new year, 2023, can you talk about anything that we should know, any trends or any advice?
Yes, I would say the first thing to think about when you go into 2023 is mobile first. Make sure your site is mobile friendly. We all typically look at things from our laptops, from our computers, but more and more people are actually doing their research, and their experience on your site is actually happening on this device. So always review your website and the experience on your site through your phone. That would be my number one advice. Scott, what would you add?
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I think a lot of it, and Google has reflected this in how they're making changes for ranking factors, but user experience. What's the website user experience? Mobile first, and desktop after that. User experience meaning, how are you appealing to the audience? Imagery, content, helpful content. All of that is really a big emphasis. It has been in 2022. That's going to continue in 2023. A couple of things that are top of mind for me as well in terms of 2023 is a lot of our customers, a lot of senior living communities think about their website as a sales tool. And it is a sales tool, but it's not just for potential residents. It's also for potential staff. And it's really important in an environment where there are staff shortages that could continue and be a persistent issue. Don't be afraid to also make your website a destination for those that may be considering a job shift or a community shift. The last thing that you want to do is to turn off a really good future employee because your website's just not very good, and that's oftentimes the first place that they're gonna land. Last is this is something that I think a persistent issue in the space is use of CRM. I think there's going to be a continued shift towards more CRM usage in the space as marketing gets more complex, I think, over time. And nurturing and knowing your potential customer better is important. I think last year, the statistic I read, 2022, there were still 47% of communities that don't use a CRM. So I'd like to see that continue to trend up, because you can do some interesting things when you're capturing those leads and nurturing them and knowing exactly how those leads came in and if they became residents and the value. So I think that'll be a continued trend too.
Great information. Scott Bell, CEO, and Ana Reaves, key accounts lead and all around great person. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I wish you both a very happy holiday season. I know between you, respectfully, in your families, your separate families, there's a lot of kids. There. I don't know. I lost count on how many between the two families, how many there are, but I am sure there's lots of elves on shelves and all kinds of fun things going on. And that make the holidays so special. So enjoy. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening. If you want to learn more about what high level marketing does, please visit their website, and there will be a link and some information and along with this podcast, wherever you are watching or listening.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.